Hey guys, Edge again. Last time we did to review the super saw sound, or future brass, or whatever you want to call it. And so now we're going to be doing the bass. This bass line that sounds pretty horrible by itself. I've just realized that one of the notes is off. I did not catch that when I was drawing them in. It is definitely like fighting with a kick, but again, like I'm really not going to worry about that until mixing because these lessons are just about the sound design. So, if we go into our bass, I'm going to start making it without the saws first and then add them. Um this sound is also fairly easy to make because we're also just going to use like a straight sawtooth as our basis for this. You could use like go to analog and basic shapes for those of you who have serum and like know about all of its wavetable locations, but I'm just gonna use this. Um, so I am gonna use unison now. I don't like usually do this for bass sounds or for like harsh sawtooth analog bass sounds, but in this case, I found it kind of useful. Uh, we're not gonna detune it that much though. I mean, it's gonna be like very subtle detuning. Five is a good number because it's closer to like eight in that it gives it more of a lush feel, but it's an odd number, which means that the core of the sound is like a single voice instead of like it being a number like six, where you have two on the left, two on the right, and then two in the middle that are your focus. It works better than that, I've found. So filter again, the Moo Glow 12 uh, filter. I'm gonna move the cutoff like way up there. Actually, I don't really like want to cut out that many frequencies. I don't think. You can hear it. We're killing though. Like the really high frequencies around like 10K. Those nasty like buzzy. I hate that. So we're gonna get rid of it. It already sounds so much better. Like just unison is like an underrated tool. Like a lot of people wonder why their sounds aren't smooth and aren't polished. It's just like oftentimes you can, you know, improve a sound just by adding more voices. That's not always true. Sometimes you want like a focus in the middle, but that's typically a good first step if you're looking for something that's smoother. It can take a lot of the harshness away. So, oh, resonance, yeah. I'm not gonna add like any more than like 10%. Um, drive though, I do want this to be like this is gonna be like a distorted analog bass sound, like an electro sound or something in a future bass track. I know, but you know, makes it angrier. Um, sounds pretty good. It is missing sub though. We're missing a lot of sub bass. Whoops. We have some, but I mean, it could use a little bit more sub bass. So I'm gonna take a sub bass, set it to just like a sine wave, drop it an octave, and not fix it. If you're like listening on not the best speakers or headphones at home, you might not be able to hear that, but on my headphones it kind of stands out. So last thing I'm gonna do, add a little bit of noise. Where is actually, I'll go with AC hum. Just a little bit. I usually always add like a little bit of white noise to like my sawtooth based sounds. In that case, it like adds just a little bit of like top end hiss, which to me like furthers the illusion that it's an analog sound, like a really old synth, like hardware synth or something, um, or you know, it brings in like more highs, but not the like nasty highs that we get from like really high sawtooth harmonics. It's more like they're way more pleasant to listen to than if we hadn't filtered out the top end of the saw. Pretty subtle, not using too much. The next thing that we're going to do, I'm going to drop the volume in anticipation of what's about to happen, is we're going to turn on the distortion and tube distortion, because analog, there are some other analog ones like tape saturation in here, but tube distortion is like my go-to for basses. And we're going to absolutely crank the drive until, yeah, pretty much just a ridiculous amount. And I am going to turn on like this filter post just to, or maybe not. Let's see. I am going to turn it on. I was thinking I was going to have to, because you can hear the distortion is great. It makes it sound a lot angrier, a lot more charged, more analog, even a warmer, like thicker sound. But there is just too much like just trash like in the top end. So we're gonna like, it's not a steep cut. It's very gradually cutting out the high frequencies, which is actually what I want in this case. And we're putting it after the distortion so that the distortion can still do all of its work. Cool. Okay, so that is also pretty much that patch. That was also very fairly easy. So let's listen to these two parts together to see how they blend. I mean, they sound okay. It's not mixed, so like, keep that in mind if you're like, why doesn't it sound good? Um, Basically, making these parts sound good together is all part of the mixing process, which we haven't done yet. So the next episode, we're going to do the Phoenix Cry lead, my favorite part of this entire song, and the most complicated patch in the in this like tutorial or walkthrough, whatever you want to call it. So that's all for this video. I will see you guys in the next one.